Fresh out the box! Fresh out the box! Fresh out the box! Fresh out the box. Fresh out the box.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Fresh Out, the podcast, the greatest podcast in the universe. I'm the board game guru and game master extraordinaire, Jahananan.
It's me, Casualty CDG, co-host of Fresh Out the podcast and Fresh Out the Box. That's where we play tabletop role-playing games. That's me and Jahan and our friends. Every Thursday and Friday, we're just doing stuff trying to make you laugh, cry, or otherwise. Just trying to make you feel. You need to feel those feelings deep down. Which reminds me of our brand new project we're doing. It's called Fresh Out Your Therapist's Office, where we go in and read the notes that you have told your therapist your deepest secrets, and then we expose them on our next episode. We're looking forward to violating somebody's patient-doctor privileges.
First on the docket, Drew Munhausen.
And I am Drew Munhausen, the professional media and movie mastermind, and welcome everybody to episode 112 of Fresh Out the podcast. And I have a little fun activity for everyone here. About a year ago,
Is it a crossword?
it's not a crossword. No, it is not. About a year ago, we did an episode that was actually so long we had to split it into two episodes, and it was our most anticipated media of 2023, and we did our top 5 movies, top 5 TV shows, and top 5 games each. And I wanted to revisit those things. Well, we use Google Docs. We're pretty clear about that. You know, we have a Google Doc we kind of follow for each episode where we include some of our notes and things. And I went back to find the Google Doc for that show, only to discover that Gary and I had both put our top 5 of each into the doc, but Jahan, you had not. You made your list separately, and it was not in that Google Doc, so I didn't have your items. So I could have just asked you for your items to see if you had it and could have sent them to me. But no, instead, I went through the actual podcast, put it on 2x speed, which is hilarious listening to us at double speed, and just went through it to find Jahan listing his items. First off, we've progressed a long way in even a year. Those 2 podcasts last year were an absolute messy disaster, and a lot of it's my fault because we went number 5 movie, number 5 TV show, number 5 game, then back to number 4 movie, number 4 TV show, number 4 game. And it's just so messy each of us talking about things, and it jumped all over the place. Going back through it in the way that I had to find Jahan's items was just, I don't know why I did that to myself, but listening to us talk back then, it was really hilarious listening to some of the media that was like, what was popular at the time and things that have just completely forgotten about since, like TV shows on Netflix have just totally fallen into the ether. But I did it. I found our top 5 lists. They're all here. I have them in front of me, and I thought it might be kind of fun to go through what we were anticipating the most for this year and see where those things ended up falling as far as our likes and dislikes, or what we even saw or didn't see, because I know for a fact there are things on I think Gary's list in particular, where I'm like, I don't know if Gary even saw that or watched it, but it was on his list. There are definitely things on your list that you both hated, which will be fun to visit. And Jahan has some other things in particular that are very fun. So I was gonna go through this really quick, if you will,
Let's
if you
do
all
this.
don't mind.
Not at
So
all.
I'll go through my movies really quick, and I'll just go 5 through 1. My number 5 movie was Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which ended up being fine. Like I liked it just fine. I feel like it got pretty mixed reviews overall. Number 4 was Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Great movie. Don't regret that pick. Number 3, number 3, Beau is Afraid, which is a super, super weird movie, and I did enjoy it. I don't know if it's one of my favorites of this year, but I don't regret putting it here on my list. Number 2, I had Barbie, and Gary drilled me about including this on my list and including it as high as I did. And Gary, I think you even threw out "You do you, man." Who am I?
Yeah,
Who am I
for
to
sure.
say?
I have gone on the record to say my expectations for Barbie were maybe a 2 out of 10. My expectations were a straight to DVD Tinkerbell movie from like the 90s. And I couldn't have been more wrong, but that was my expectation. And I was pleasantly surprised. I was very wrong.
Yeah, that ended up being, as of now, I believe it's the highest grossing movie of the year. And yeah, ended up being a big deal. And we never could have predicted back then how Barbenheimer was going to take over and the whole movement and everything. It ended up being a
That
whole
was pretty
thing.
wild, man.
And my number 1 anticipated movie of the year was Killers of the Flower Moon, which, spoilers for when we do top 5s of the year, but that's probably going to be on my list. So definitely had it at a good place at number 1.
That's an Oscar movie, right? That one's going to be on the list, you said.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be around. It's kind of making a late season awards surge, or critics loved it, but it's being reevaluated even more as hey, this is really good, because right now it seems like it's the Oppenheimer year of Oscars, but Killers of the Flower Moon is kind of making a dent in that.
Is it about when Zhao the Conqueror kills the moon spirit and Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Yep.
It sure is.
Oh,
That's
cool.
exactly what it's about.
I'm definitely going to watch that.
So Gary, I'll move on to your list of movies. One of which I believe actually on you and Jahan's list. For the record, I think I have your number 1 movie right, Jahan, but it was weird because when we were doing our lists a year ago, if Gary's number 1 was Jahan's number 4, Gary'd be like, "That's my number 1," and then we would just talk about it then and there and wouldn't revisit it. So it was really difficult to determine.
That's awesome. We did great.
Yeah. Yeah, but live and learn. We'll do
it better this time.
Differently.
Look, man, it's a time capsule, and we're just a couple of friends talking about stuff.
We also had Sean as a guest on that pod, so there's an additional 5 things in each category per person. So we literally had 20 items across 3 different categories, so 60 total items that we went across, it's just a lot, man. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Gary's number 5 most anticipated movie was Blue Beetle. I don't know if you even saw it, Gary. Did you?
I did see it, and I actually liked it a lot. I would
Good.
watch it again.
Same.
Your number 4 movie was Knock at the Cabin, the M. Night Shyamalan Batista movie.
I watched it, and I did not like it. And then I found out that the book ended differently than the film, and the book ending would have been better, and M. Night Shyamalan did.
You did. No, your number 3 was Dune 2, which of course got delayed into March of 2024 due to the ongoing guild strikes at the time. So, which
I
luckily
stand
the
by
strikes
it,
are
though.
over.
Nice.
Your number 2 movie was Cocaine Bear, and this was one that you were super,
Yeah, dude.
You
can't go
planted
wrong.
your flag and you were proud.
Look,
Listening
man,
back.
you picked Barbie. I picked Cocaine Bear, okay? And I'm pretty sure that speaks for itself. Nothing else needs to be said. Cocaine Bear was not good. It was way worse than it should have been. I don't know how it was so bad. I could have made a much better Cocaine Bear, I think. I think I could have crushed that.
That's That's probably pretty. It's just a weird movie. It didn't know if it wanted to be a horror movie, if it wanted to be a comedy. Kind of tries to be a little of both, but it doesn't really succeed at either. I don't know. It's a weird. It's a very weird
agree
movie.
with that. That's a great analysis. It rides the line and it fails to do either one successfully. I would have gone full horror with it. I would have gone full horror. I would have made it just absolutely a slasher film, and it would have been funny because it was so stupid.
Yeah, I definitely feel like you have to take that seriously for it to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Your number one movie was Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which I believe came out on your birthday, and that was a big sticking point for you as well. That it was your birthday movie.
I did see it. It was not good. And I do not think it will stand the test of time, especially with the Jonathan Majors news. I think that movie is just going to be lost to time. Tis the story of Ant-Man.
Yep. Jahan.
Oh, it's me.
I'm
a guy.
Your number 5 movie, I don't know if it even actually exists. Your number 5 movie was The Last Train to New York, which is apparently an American remake of Last Train to Busan.
Yeah, it's not out.
And I don't know where that even is in production. But you know, it was true to Jahan. That was the whole point. You know, there was the zombies were represented on the list, and that's what was important. Your number 4 was Blue Beetle.
Yeah, the news doesn't sound good. All right, but yeah, go ahead.
Your number 4 was Blue Beetle. Your number 3, number 3 was Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Yeah.
Your number 2 is actually a really good pick, and it ended up being way better than I think anyone anticipated, which was Evil Dead Rise. Was your number 2?
Yeah.
A movie that I actually really liked. I think you liked it, right?
Yeah, it was solid. I feel like they did some things I wouldn't have done, but it was good. It was gory. I feel like it wasn't as creepy as it could have been, but there was the ending is super dope. And like, I don't know, they did a thing I liked there. I want to watch it again now.
I think your number 1 was Dune 2, if I heard the talk correctly, or if you remember it was something different. I don't know.
No, I don't remember at all. Dune 2 probably was. Yeah, I mean, I was excited for that one for sure.
I said specifically, I caught it when Gary talked about Dune 2. I had seen Dune 2 was on Gary's list of most anticipated, so I took it off of mine, which is why it wasn't on mine. But otherwise, it would have been on all of ours. And yeah, that movie didn't even come out this year. So who would have thought?
Time is crazy, man. I'd say 2020.
TV shows gets a little wild here.
Yeah.
My number 5 most anticipated show was Secret Invasion, which was not good, and I didn't even finish it. Yeah, so there's that. My number 4 was Loki season 2, which was good. Yeah, Loki season 2 is fine. I enjoyed it just fine. My number 3 was Yellow Jackets season 2, which is, I was really looking forward to it. It came out when there were a bunch of different shows on. I watched the first episode of season 2 and liked it, and then didn't finish it and put it on the back burner as a show I'm going to catch up on. And so my number 3 anticipated TV show of the year, I watched 1 episode of and didn't finish. Really bodes well. Number 2, which was number 2 across all of our lists, was The Last of Us, that we were all really excited for.
God, that feels like so long ago.
It sure does. Feels like ages ago. Another one that also feels ages ago, which was on all of our lists, number 1 on mine and Gary's, Mandalorian season 3.
Okay.
Which
wow, that did happen. I forgot that was the one with the dragons. Yeah, I think The Last of Us really crushed it this year. If I'm going to be honest, that was, in hindsight, the number 1 show. I think.
Your TV list. This is what I've been looking forward to. Are you ready for this?
I'm an absolute crazy person. I can't wait to hear this.
Your number 5. So first, I said your number 2 and 1. Last of Us, Mando season 3. Right? Perfect. Makes sense. You know, no questions there. Your number 5.
Some good picks.
Your number 5 was That 90s Show.
Okay.
Okay. Look,
Gary
would
liked
watch
it.
another season. I'd watch another season. I would.
Well, fair. Your number 4, I believe, was also Jahan's number 1.
Oh no.
Y'all put the formerly HBO Max, now Max series, Velma, the mature Scooby-Doo spin-off show.
Whoops.
Boy.
I'm not a
You
prophet,
all
man.
can see,
Not a
if
prophet.
you're listening to this audio, if you could see the look of pain on both their faces, especially Gary's.
All
That's-
I could do is just kind of, I just like looking down
Hey.
and look away. I'm ashamed that Velma was on my most.
I'm gonna put it
anticipated
at least it wasn't your number 1, Gary. It was my
Look,
number
dude,
1.
I told you I could have made a better Cocaine Bear. I could have made a better Velma too.
Dude, anyone could have made a better Velma.
These are things
terrible.
that even though I have little talent, I have more talent than whoever directed this crap.
Yeah.
Your number 3 actually didn't come out this year and will be coming out next year. It was Echo, the Marvel Studios show on Disney Plus.
That show's gonna be dope because it's got Vinny D as Kingpin returning, and that's pretty much all we need. More Vincent D'Onofrio in the Marvel verse, please.
Yeah.
And I believe they just announced that show will be the first of the Marvel series to be TVM rated or TVA adult, whatever it is, adult or M mature.
Yeah.
It's going to be like the equivalent of TVR rating. So
I just want to watch.
I think that
correct,
actually
dude.
bodes well for that.
I just want to watch them stab
Agreed.
people. In the
Let's see,
MCU.
Jahan. Your number 5
Yep.
most anticipated show was Vox Machina season 2.
Okay, I did watch it. I did like it.
Your number 4 was a show called Wolfpack that I believe was on Paramount Plus with Sarah Michelle Gellar. It was like a werewolf-esque show.
Never watched it.
Nice.
I forgot about that show. I should go check it out.
And then, as we said, Mando season 3, The Last of Us, and Velma. Worth noting, because it wasn't on any of our lists, but we did talk about it. We mentioned Invincible season 2 on that episode, but we were not sure if it was actually coming out in 2023 or not. So we didn't have it on there.
Turns out we were right. We get half of it this year and half of it next year. So funny.
And then one of the shows that y'all did shout out on that podcast was, I think, Gary, you called out Jahan for being surprised that he didn't have Gen V on his list. And I think, Jahan, you basically straight up said, I forgot. But, you included it as an honorable mention.
Yeah. No,
So-
and I did watch it, and man, that's a good show.
Yeah, those are some popular, successful shows that were not on our list, but we at least did mention. In all fairness to us, even though I felt like going back through those episodes was a little bit of a mess, for everything we talked about, I feel like we were pretty on point. Like, there's no huge looming TV shows that ended up being super popular or anything that we just didn't talk about.
Yeah, we didn't
mention.
miss anything, but we had some missed calls too. Velma was a huge bomb. It wasn't at all
Whoops.
what we were expecting it to be.
Yeah, that was a disappointment.
I mean, I knew Mindy Kaling was doing it. I just didn't have any sort of opinion about her at that point. I didn't know how she wrote. I don't know, man. It was so bad. It was so bad.
Yeah, it was tough.
Are we doing a
Moving on to
worst
our-
of the year list this year? Because that's going on it.
That's just the list.
It's just
Worst of the
Velma.
year across movies, TV shows, and video games is just Velma.
And now for Fresh Out the Toilet, introducing Velma.
Oh, solid
Send it
segment
to
title.
Trophy and Mindy.
Makes me want to use it. We'll see. We'll come back to it.
We'll workshop it.
Our most anticipated video games. My number 5, I had Diablo 4, which, was a huge game this past year, but, I had a really great month with it. I put over 100 hours into it and then beat the game. I felt like the post-game grind was tough, and the seasons that have followed have been okay, but not quite where I wanted them to be. But I'll maybe revisit Diablo 4 in the future. But that was my number 5.
Had a great month with Diablo. Literally everyone in the entire world. That game fell off after a month. It was crazy.
Did not have the staying power.
Yeah, it's tough, and it's a tough landscape for these kinds of games. And then Baldur's Gate 3 came out a few months after it came after Diablo 4 and kind of ate its lunch in a way. My number 4 was Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League, which this pick is aged kind of badly. Obviously, it got delayed out of 2023. It's coming out in 2024, but I think that was also before we had seen the demo that they showed over the summer, where it did not look good, or didn't look like what we wanted.
They had an abysmal demo. There was huge backlash from the gaming community. They've supposedly tried to address that. Now I've been seeing a huge marketing push on Xbox. I can't speak for the other systems, but I see them pushing this game all the time, and they're expecting people are going to pay full price for this game, and it's not going to happen. I can tell you right now, they're going to need to drop their price to $40 or get on Game Pass, because there is no goodwill going towards this game going into it.
The fact that you say that is interesting, because I felt like I was noticing the marketing push recently too, a lot of ads, and the irony is that I'm not even really sure when it comes. It looks like it's coming out February 2nd, so we are a little over a month away, so it makes sense that it's starting to ramp up. But I didn't even realize it was coming out that soon. I thought it was kind of pushed way far away. But there's some articles out there now, like that there's story spoilers out in the wild and things are leaking. I'll probably still play it because I believe in Rocksteady, but man, this game is coming out late after there's been kind of a revolt against these live service games, and some of the gameplay looked rough
from the get-go. Man, I feel bad for them. They're doomed from step one. They're totally screwed here. They're not going to get full price for their game. They're not going to have an active user base. They're going to have to do something. I don't know what, but they're going to have to shake this game to life.
Yep, I agree. If the Avengers live service game
is what they should do, because otherwise they're not going to have, in a 4-player co-op game that you actually need those other players, like you need a player base, and they're not going to get it if they just put it on normal price. I agree.
Maybe that's why they're advertising now, is so that you'll buy the pre-order, so they get your money early, and then it'll be on Game Pass. Maybe that is part of the marketing technique, why they're marketing 2 months out. It is strange. And I agree with you. You have games like Deep Rock Galactic, where if you want a 4-player squad, games like Exoprimal, where if you want a 5-player squad, you're going to have to be on Game Pass. Everything else is, 3-player squads and stuff like that. If you want a big, active community, Game Pass is the place to get it.
Let's see. So that was my number 4. My number 3 was Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which, great pick. One of my favorite games of the year. My number 2 was Starfield. It's a good pick. Again, one of my favorite games of the year. It gets dogged on a lot, especially because I think the Xbox exclusivity gives a lot of the gamer player base a chance to kind of dog on it. But that game's really good for what it is, and I think it gets a little bit of a bad rap. Not a bad rap, but it's underappreciated, in my opinion. And my number 1 was Marvel's. Yeah. Marvel Spider-Man 2 was my number 1, which I feel great about. One of my favorite games of the year.
It's a good pick.
If not my favorite game of the year. So, yeah.
That was in the running for game of the year as well, if I recall. So definitely a game
of
the year.
Oh, man. PlayStation was so salty. They were so salty about that.
Did you see, actually, the exclusivity terms of Sony's like X-Men video game rights? Did y'all see this come out? It's kind of interesting. Oh gosh, I don't have it up in front of me, but essentially, I guess there are some Sony email leaks or something, but the terms of Sony or PlayStation's exclusivity rights for the X-Men in particular came out, because they're Insomniac's making the Wolverine game, and apparently there's a whole bunch of terms in that where PlayStation has exclusivity for X-Men characters through like 2035 or something like that, for over the next decade. And like if there's a multi-platform game that features X-Men characters in it, like I think that's okay. For example, if like an Ultimate Alliance game came out and was multi-platform, that would be okay. But Xbox could not be like, and we exclusively have Wolverine as a pre-order bonus, and it's not on PlayStation. There's just things they can't do, and there's a lot. And Marvel gets like 20% of every digital game sold, and all
Damn,
that.
that's a good
It's
deal
really
for,
interesting.
for Marvel. That's really good.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. Anyways, it's neither here nor there. It's just a weird tangent. Back to our lists. So Gary, your top 5 most anticipated games. Your number 5 was Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which I don't think came out this year.
Nope.
I don't think it came out either.
Your number 4 was Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League, which we just talked about. Your number 3 was RoboCop: Rogue City, which I know did come
Ooh, I
out this
almost
year,
bought
and I
it.
think got decent reviews.
It did. I almost bought it. I've looked at it multiple times and thought about buying it. It seems like a really dated kind of shooter compared to the current market of where video games are at now. I would still love to buy and play this game. It looks like a ton of fun, but I'm waiting for a big price drop, maybe 50% off or something.
Your number 2 was Hogwarts Legacy, which I know you ended up not playing for good reasons.
Yeah, that's right. The whole thing. What a bummer, man. I still think there's probably a lot of cool stuff in that game, but then Baldur's Gate came out also, so it's not like I'm hurting for an RPG anymore. The best RPG ever came out, so I'm good.
And your number 1 was Dead Island 2.
Yo, I'm not even kidding. Dead Island 2 was fire.
It was fun.
Too many people are sleeping on that game. If you are looking for a single player game or even a co-op game, pick up Dead Island 2. It is a blast. The melee combat is some of the most fun melee combat I have ever experienced. And I'm a big melee combat games guy, playing Chivalry and Warhammer and all that crap.
Yeah. No, I liked it too. What about me?
John.
What about me?
Your number 5 was Armored Core 6.
Okay. Didn't get a chance to play it.
Your number 4.
Oh, boy.
This is probably my favorite that's on any of these lists for
boy.
any platform. Because this is super relevant and has been in the news. And we just talked about it between us last week.
Yeah.
Your number 4 was The Day Before,
Yep.
which was the MMO zombie game that just came out.
That was a scam. And
It ended up being a big scam game. And there's no way you could have known.
No,
Nobody
there's no
did.
way I
A lot of
could've
people
known.
were excited.
No.
John got. You got 2 weeks in a row. You got.
I keep getting got, man. I'm gullible.
You did. You got.
I'm becoming less, what do you call it, pessimistic in life. It's making me more gullible, I think.
Your number 3 was Dead Island 2.
Yep.
Your number 2 was Starfield.
Yep.
And your number 1, of course, was The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah. So.
Solid list. No regrets there. I'm kind of surprised I didn't put Baldur's Gate 3, but I don't think I realized it was coming out for real. Because it was in early access for so long.
Yeah,
I
Baldur's
thought
Gate
it would
3
just be
not
a
on anybody's
PC thing.
list.
I'm an Xbox gamer. I thought it would be a PC thing. It always has been a PC thing. And I figured if it came to Xbox, it would play like Divinity, which is a clunky game. It's a good game. It's just real clunky on Xbox.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
So it does play well on Xbox?
It's been playing great
Yeah.
for me.
Cool. I was curious because I always play those kinds of games on PC, so I don't know.
Yeah, man. Everything is done by like right bumper and left bumper radio menus, so it's really fast and convenient.
It's cool.
There are some things, like I've watched videos, especially if I'm like, how do I do this? Or what am I struggling with here? If you watch any YouTube videos of people playing on PC, I'm like, oh man, mouse and keyboard would be really nice, and having
It's
your
really
menu at
nice.
the bottom and all your items and how quick you can move. I think that's my only complaint about it on Xbox is organizing your radial menus for choosing your skills they do a pretty good job of autofilling it on Xbox, but sometimes stuff gets moved around and it's a little bit of a pain to move it back how you like it. And then sometimes organizing your inventory is a little bit of a pain and filtering through it. But those are pretty minor details. As far as actual gameplay and how the game runs, I haven't had any issues at all. It's been running great. And that's on a Series X. I should specify.
Good then. Yeah, that's interesting. Was that it?
That's it. That's all of our lists. I thought it was worth a fun little look back and examination and reassessment of what we were looking forward to at the beginning of this year. And I'd say most of the stuff held up. Like a lot of it ended up being some top things of the year, or even if they're not on our list of favorites of the year, which I'm sure we'll do in the next couple weeks. I think they were worthy of being on our list. So I think it's pretty solid.
Yeah, it's a good list. Yeah, Blast from the Past. It was kind of weird because like it was making me remember back then, and so it was just kind of weird. But yeah, very cool.
Yep. All right. Well, as I've alluded to, I'm sure we've got the holidays coming up. Christmas, New Year's, all of that. So, as far as I know, we're still going to be doing our episodes regularly as we can, and we'll probably be doing a lot of look backs on the year soon. Like I'd like to do another top 5 movies, games, and TV shows of 2023, and I like to do another most anticipated list for 2024.
This time next week, it will have already been Christmas. You guys looking forward to anything? Do you ask for anything for the holidays? Do you ask for anything for Christmas? We can just check back next week. That could be kind of fun.
I didn't ask for anything really in particular, I don't think. I asked for, I want some kind of, like, nerdy bathrobe. Like, make me look like a wizard or something. I asked for something like that. Or, like, Zach has a bathrobe.
It's the Doctor Strange
Doctor
one.
Strange, yeah. Something like that. Something cool like that.
I just had a conversation about this with my wife recently, and about the holidays and how much it changed. Because like I was very fortunate as a kid growing up. Like Santa Claus was always pretty good to me. Like, and I had really awesome Christmas, and I always really looked forward to Christmas, and really lucked out a lot with like getting video game consoles and things like that. Now as an adult, it really is more about the giving aspect for me. And like, I have a kid now. So that being said, the things I'm looking forward to about Christmas is way more about giving and the reactions there, as opposed to anything that I ask for. I'm old now. I'm like, hey, I need a new nose hair trimmer. Like I need new shoes. Like that's legitimately the type of stuff I ask for.
Yeah, we can buy our own video games now.
I've been buying most of my games digitally, so like I'll be happy if just like with just like an Xbox gift card. That I'd be happy with that, since I buy most of my stuff digitally. That's all I ask for.
I got the go ahead. I was like, I want to get a video game for Christmas, and then of course Baldur's Gate came out, and I was like, boom, that's the one I want to get. So I got myself a game for Christmas, and then I asked for some paints and some minis, and so I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to checking back in next week. And
I have been considering
nerding out
buying the MetaQuest 3.
Oh, dang.
I'm considering it. I have some money. I don't know. I could buy it. I just don't know. Yeah, it seems.
Well, you have a birthday and Christmas.
I have birthday and Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be big for you, big boy.
I started hearing reviews.
I forgot. Yeah, I always forget yours are back to back. Yeah. What's your birthday movie gonna be this year? Have you picked it out yet?
Have not picked it out yet. I don't even know what's out. What's out on Christmas Eve? Anything good?
Wonka just came out. Aquaman 2 comes out, which, I mean, that should be your movie because it's the best DC franchise.
You should go see it just because Drew likes it so much. You should get Drew to go see it with you.
Drew, come see it with
just tell you how good it is.
Leave your family on Christmas Eve to go see Aquaman with me.
Bring your family.
I think Ferrari comes out on Christmas, the new Michael Mann movie, the Adam Driver, The Color Purple. You could always go see the Iron Claw, the wrestling movie. Although, I was disappointed by it. What else? What else comes out? Migration, the new Illumination animated movie about ducks with I think Kumail Nanjiani's in it.
Sometimes I like seeing some lighthearted stuff. I remember one time I saw, Enchanted, I think, with Amy Adams.
Yes, there's Enchanted, and they made a sequel called Disenchanted.
Yeah, that was
which
my
I haven't watched
one time. I haven't picked a Christmas movie yet. This year it hasn't been as obvious a choice. Like in the past, it's been things like Star Wars came out, Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse came out. I had all 3 Lord of the Rings movies as birthday movies, so
I feel like there was a big one last year, but I can't remember what it is now.
I can't either. I probably saw it.
Yeah,
maybe it was The Glass Onion.
Oh, could be.
My Christmas movie we actually watched at home last year. It was Violent Night. That's right.
Ooh,
Nice.
That was a good
I
one.
need to
That was
watch
a good
that
one.
again. I'll probably
Well-
watch that this weekend.
As we're talking about movies, should we go ahead and move on to our fresh movies of the week?
Yeah, man. Maybe you'll sway me on seeing Wonka. Maybe I'll go see that.
Heck yeah, let's do it.
Hey,
No, he's not going to
I did-
convince you that it's good.
I did go see Wonka. I felt like I had an obligation to go see it. It was a new release, and I'm a big fan of Paddington and Paddington 2. They're very beloved by the cinephile community. I don't know if y'all have either of you seen Paddington or
I think I've
Paddington
seen
2?
the first one.
They're very
Oh, yeah.
charming. They're very heartwarming.
Cool.
They do rule. They rule.
Mm-hmm.
So Paul King directed those, and Paul King directed Wonka. And Wonka was just the trailers, the publicity photos that come out, everything about it looked like, oh no, like this is going to be a disaster. But the one thing, the one thing keeping me optimistic was Paul King's involvement, because I like the Paddington movies so much. And now that Wonka is out, and I've seen Wonka,
You hate Paul King.
confidently say that Wonka is charming.
Okay.
I
No way.
liked Wonka.
Okay.
No
I
way.
liked
No
it.
way. No way. No way.
I did. So first off, there's been a trend in Hollywood recently of movies that are full-blown musicals not being advertised as musicals at all. Wonka falls into that category. This is like a full-on musical. There's lots of songs throughout. I mean, it opens with Timmy C as Wonka singing on a boat. Like this is music all throughout. There's a Mean Girls musical coming out in January that they're barely marketing as a musical. The Color Purple comes out Christmas Day. They've barely advertised the musical aspects of that. It's just interesting. It's like people don't like musicals, but they're making musicals. They're not advertising them as musicals. So people
They're
go
making
see
musicals for no one.
It's very strange. That being said, I thought Wonka was way more charming than it had any right to be. It kind of acts as a quasi prequel to the Gene Wilder Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It shares some music with it, like the the main World of Imagination theme. It plays here, the Oompa Loompa song. There's songs from the original that play here. But it's a prequel of Wonka. He's got nothing to his name, and he's trying to establish his chocolate empire while going against some adversaries in the chocolate world. Which, again, you say that out loud, it sounds absolutely ridiculous and totally stupid. But I think it's very fun and charming. The songs are okay. Timmy C is pretty good as far as his singing voice goes, but I actually liked his physical performance here. There's some people that are nitpicking about if this is a true prequel to the Gene Wilder Willy Wonka film or not, because Wonka's way too nice in this movie. He doesn't seem like the type that would be essentially willing to injure children or put children at the risk of harm, as what happens in the original 1971 movie. But overall, I just found Wonka to be a pretty charming ride. There is a storyline with Keegan-Michael Key, who's like a chocolate-addicted police officer, and I did not really... Like, Keegan-Michael Key's fine in it. I didn't like very much of what they were trying to do with his character in the storyline there. But otherwise, I was pleasantly surprised by Wonka. I thought Wonka good. Wonka good.
Okay. Maybe I'll watch it.
I never wanted it, and I still don't want it.
I know my mom, one of her favorite movies of all time is the original Willy Wonka. So
Honestly, Jahan, if that's one of her favorites of all time, like, this might be a fun movie for you to go see with your family. Like, it's
not
super
against it.
family friendly. It's fun. It's less than 2 hours long, so it doesn't overstay its welcome. It has some cheesiness to it, of course, or some chocolatiness, I guess I should say.
Wordplay.
I overall had a good time with it. Hugh Grant plays Oompa Loompa, as seen in the trailer, and again, those scenes that it showed, the way it looked in the trailer, I was like, this is going to be an absolute disaster, just dumpster fire, and it made me laugh. I thought the Oompa Loompa stuff was charming. The emotional stuff kind of worked for me, It's not perfect by any means, but just considering where my expectations were, I'd say that Wonka's certified fresh for myself personally.
Okay. Excellent.
One that's not certified fresh
Oh, boy.
is one that I watched on Apple TV Plus. There's a new movie streaming there exclusively called The Family Plan. It stars Mark Wahlberg and Michelle Monaghan, and this is your typical like family comedy where Mark Wahlberg's got his wife and his 3 kids, and he's has kept it a secret from them that he was an assassin, in essentially in a previous life or as an early job before he had his family, and he's left that life, and now living the suburban life, and his assassin lifestyle catches up with him, and he has to take his family on the
What did
run.
you say it was called? Mr. and Mrs. Smith?
Right. It's called The Family Plan.
Wait, was it called Mr. Nobody?
And the
I could
family
do this
plan.
for a while.
Here's the thing. Not only is it a super vanilla comedy that uses tropes and concepts that we've seen in movies before, as you're joking about, Jahan, like you're totally right. You're spot on. But it's one of those movies where it feels like the writers include things or character traits that they know nothing about. And so if you are watching it and you know anything about it, you're like, this just makes no sense. For example, there's a whole storyline in this movie where the son is a huge gamer, like plays video games, Twitch streams, but his dad, Mark Wahlberg's like, you should be getting out and doing other things. Don't play video games. They're bad for you. Kind of that old school parent mentality. And so has essentially banned his son from playing video games. So his son secretly will be like, yeah, I'm going to this friend's house to go study or go do this. And instead he's like paying a guy to go play PC games in the dude's garage, where this kid is Twitch streaming and is secretly a super famous Twitch streamer, which he hides from his family because his family doesn't allow him to play video games. And I'm like, none of this, if you actually know how streaming works and gaming and the actual famous Twitch streamers, I'm like, none of this makes any sense in this movie. Like stuff like that, where you're like, the writers clearly don't know anything about that world, but they're like, yeah, let's make the boy a Twitch streamer gamer and that'll be cool. And it just, none of it works. This is pretty rough.
All of that is so funny, and Mark Wahlberg is such a great actor and such a hilarious comedian, and I respect everything that he does.
I've told y'all that I've
That was so mean somehow. That's so good.
I've spent way too much time watching the first and second season of Wall Street, which is the the Max original streaming show that's like a behind the scenes look at Mark Wahlberg's life and all his business ventures, because he has like a clothing line and a film production company and a gym franchise and like all, and Wahlburgers and all these different franchises, ways that he makes money, and like the movie business is just kind of almost like a side thing compared to all his business ventures. And his production company is called Municipal Pictures. And I was watching this and that name comes up at the beginning. I'm like, oh yeah, this is now Marky Mark using his production company to just do his own thing. And the guy that directed it really hasn't directed anything of note, but this guy directed The Family Plan. His name's Simon Kellen Jones. Directed The Family Plan, and his next movie is called Arthur the King in 2024, which is another Mark Wahlberg movie. So this director is just becoming a Mark Wahlberg jobber.
So Mark Wahlberg made himself King Arthur next year?
No, it doesn't look like it's an actual King Arthur movie. It's just called. Let me. Here, I'll help enlighten you.
Yeah, please read this synopsis of this huge piece
what
of
Wikipedia
crap.
says. It is based on the 2016
Mark Wahlberg.
nonfiction
You're
book
making me
called
hate him more.
Arthur, the Dog Who Crossed the Jungle to Find a Home. In the film, the captain of an adventure racing team befriends a wounded stray dog named Arthur, who accompanies the team on a grueling 435-mile endurance race through the Dominican Republic.
Nice.
That is Arthur the King, set to be released by
which
Lionsgate
he had
on
made
March
himself King
22nd,
Arthur
2024.
So
like-
Mark, you said he doesn't need
I like-
he barely does it acting for money anymore. It's just like he just wants to stay in the limelight and produce
Yeah,
crap.
it's just he's not the first to do this. Like these actors, people like Brad Pitt,
Danny
whatever,
McBride.
buy vineyards and buy all kinds of things, and they have their other business ventures and they make money from other things, and then they make millions of dollars making movies on top of that. And it's like for Mark Wahlberg in particular, he almost seems like he's way more interested in his clothing line and his other businesses, and and I'll go make a movie for a few months and make a ton of money, and then I'll come back and get back to my businesses. It's
He
just
just
it's
does it for
interesting.
the little sandwiches at the catering
Right. Yeah, for the what's it called?
craft services.
Craft services. Yes, exactly.
Hire Wahlberger for craft services. The whole thing is just him paying himself and putting himself in movies.
So that's it for me. Gary, you had something else here.
Yeah, I do. Technically, it's a TV special, but it was more like a movie for me. The South Park 25th anniversary concert, which it's not like I sit around watching a lot of concerts in the first place, but Paramount Plus had a sick Black Friday deal. I picked it up, so I've been watching some stuff on Paramount Plus. I'm a big fan of South Park. That's been noted many times. This concert was actually pretty cool. It was a live concert at Red Rock, which is always a cool venue. And South Park guys are both from Colorado. They talk about their story, how they met at Boulder University, and they talk about the small towns in Colorado they're from. Primus is on stage as like the house band, so Primus basically plays every song with them and sings backup vocals. And also Ween is on stage on the other side of the stage. So it's a Primus concert and a Ween concert and a South Park concert, and then Rush comes out, and then it's a Rush show all of a sudden. So it's just a good time. They've got, funny character voices and some funny songs, some songs that I'm not as familiar with, but the crowd is super into it. You can tell it's just a bunch of stoned, white millennials, basically. It was a fun show. I had a lot of fun with it. It's been stuck in my head for like a week or two now. I've been listening to a bunch of Primus and I'm about it. I really liked it. It came out in 2022, I think. So
Yeah,
it's
September.
not too old. But
I watched this. I watched this when it came out.
Yeah, if you've seen it, if you haven't seen it, it's fresh, man.
I've seen
I say
clips.
it's
I haven't
fresh.
seen the whole thing. Yeah, I saw some pretty funny moments from it, and yeah, Les Claypool is always a big selling point. So,
Yeah, I recommend it. Anybody has Paramount Plus, put your kids to bed and watch the South Park 25th anniversary concert. It's fun. It's a lot of fun if you're a fan of the series.
on to Fresh TV of the week. What do you guys got for fresh television going on here? What have you guys been watching that's fresh?
Having the same issue that I had last week when it came to Fresh TV, where in the time where I normally would maybe watch a few shows, I've just been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate. So, but I did, however, watch the first episode of Squid Game: The Challenge on Netflix. Did either of y'all watch any of this?
Yes.
Yeah,
You
I
did?
think Jahan told us.
I
that
talked about it a
was
little bit.
watchable.
Okay. Then I won't dwell on it too much since you've talked about it. I watched the first episode just because I'd heard some good things about it. I wanted to see just the aesthetic and what it looked like and how it really played out as a reality show. And it's interesting, man. It's interesting how they'll take a reality taking a drama show, making it in a reality concept. They do make it very cinematic.
Yeah.
But there's so many contestants. They highlight a few that they try to get you, on board with so that you have some emotional stake in it. But I don't know, man. It's hard to watch a show like this with so many people and really try to get invested early on. I did like the red light, green light game in execution and the way they had their little like packets in their shirt that exploded.
Yeah,
So
look like
it
they're
looked
getting
they
shot,
got
and then like they were
with the
pretending
ball
like
or-
they were dead. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, some of that is kind of fun, albeit maybe a little bit cheesy. But I
was so
enjoyed
cheesy.
the first.
Man, I love that though. In The Floor is Lava, they do the same thing. Whenever somebody falls in, they act like
You
they're
don't
not
show
dead.
them coming back.
You
up.
never see them again.
It's so
yeah, and
funny.
It's hilarious. Yeah, I'm about that. That's great. That's commitment to the
That's
bit.
10 out of 10
That makes
for
me
me, yeah.
wanna watch the show.
There was a good moment watching the first episode. My wife was watching it with me, and there's during red light green light there's this girl who's running and she stops and she's like stopped in a weird squatting position.
Yeah,
And
I
she
remember
stopped.
her.
And Natalie, my wife, says out loud, she goes, "Why would you stop like that?" Or like, "Why would you squat like that?" And literally as soon as Natalie said it, the girl on screen goes, "Why did I squat like this?" Like immediately pointed out how stupid she was for doing it. And eventually she gives in and falls over and spoiler, sorry, but she
Starts
is
crying.
eliminated. But it was a very funny moment watching
There's
it.
so
Yeah,
much crying in this show. People cry so much. It's really wild.
literally starts out with 450 something people, and just after red light green light over 200 people are eliminated. So that's how these work. I don't know if I'm going to continue watching any of this. I feel like I just kind of wanted to see what it looked like. I don't know if I care enough to watch 10 episodes of this, but it's kind of fun that it exists in a weird way.
I just want to see the one where they go through the glass. That's the glass floor.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite one. I want to see that part.
Yeah. So
interested
that's it.
in this
That's it for
show.
me.
I
That's the
think
only
I'll
show I've
give it-
watched.
I think I'll give it a watch. I'm not like dying to watch it, but I do think I'll give it a watch just because I like Floor is Lava and it seems a little similar and funny in its own way. I also like the idea that everybody had to sleep in that giant bunk room. I think that's a funny reality
They
TV
do.
show.
They all have to sleep in the bunk room.
It is
I'm
crazy.
about that.
And there's politics at play with their meals and what they can get, and if like people try to steal multiple meals, and there's drama. There's the reality TV
See,
drama
yeah,
you crave.
Like,
Yeah, there's the guy that
I'm
that
kind of
steals 2
feeling it,
meals. Yeah.
I've
And
heard
then-
you guys talk about it, and no one's unsold me on the show. You know what I mean? I'm kind of feeling what you guys are putting down.
My favorite part in shows like this are like the contestants always want you to get to know them like really fast, and so they give these ridiculous explanations for the smallest decision. It's like, oh well, I chose the circle for our honeycomb because that way things come back to me. I'm the kind of guy growing up in this home in in South Venezuela. I don't know, man. It's just wild, dude. They have these weird sap stories that they tell for like no reason. But yeah, so that's Squid Games. It looks like we're getting into some anime territory here for a few of these picks. Real quick, I'm going to talk about. I watched this one a little while ago, but I haven't talked about Jujutsu Kaisen. Anyone who's an anime fan has definitely heard of it. It's one of the big animes right now. It's got a lot of episodes out already. It's not what I thought it was going to be. I always thought it was going to be like a kung fu anime about like a fighting tournament. That's what it sounds like to me, Jujutsu Kaisen. But no, the optimal word here is jutsu. So it's actually about demons and magic. So I was way off. My little brother got me to start watching this. We watched some of it together. It's all about these curses. It's not really demons, they're curses. So curses come to light in like darkened areas or like places where people are murdered and stuff, and they can manifest as these like yokai, demonic creatures. And certain people are born with the ability to fight them. The main character is not. He gains the ability to fight them through other means. And it's pretty wild. It gets pretty dark. It's pretty gory. It's a solid anime. It's like Naruto, but like if he was a demon hunter in modern times, kind of. That's what it feels like to me. It's like dark Naruto. But yeah, I like it a lot. Definitely, I certify this fresh. If you trust my anime opinions, check it out. It is worth it. The manga's been going on for a long, long time, and the show is also has no signs of stopping, if that's any indication for you.
Is it on like Netflix or something? Or you guys
So
just
I think I watched
watch
it
it
on
at home?
Crunchyroll, but you might check Hulu on this one. It might
Okay.
be available there.
Okay.
One that most people can watch because most people have Netflix nowadays, Yu Yu Hakusho, the live action. I'm a big fan of the anime, which is also available on Hulu. This is a live action anime, so it's always risky. Watch the first episode just to see how it went. It's very different from the anime. They veer off course immediately. It doesn't make it bad, but if you are looking for Yu Yu Hakusho the anime, this is not it. It doesn't happen. It's very different. They completely change the plot. They rush a lot of things. It's very rushed. They skip a lot of the character development. It's only 5 episodes, and they try to get super far in the story in 5 episodes, from my understanding of it. So it's a very rushed anime. I don't know about this one. I'm not going to recommend it. If you're a fan of Yu Yu Hakusho, maybe check it out for the Easter eggs and to see what the characters look like in real life. The characters are pretty well cast, I feel. But yeah, it's fine. But do yourself a favor, watch the anime. It's one of those classic 90s animes that everyone should watch in their life. And that's it for my shows.
We got Netflix again, and I've been dying to watch the One Piece live action. I've heard good
Me
things.
too.
I watched the first episode last night, and I started to get pretty tired. It was great. The main character absolutely kills it. That's really the performance, right? If he was bad or if he was flat or cringy, the show would be unwatchable. But the main character has just the right amount of swagger and confidence and comedy that, like, you don't believe in him because of the way he looks, but he certainly believes in himself the whole time and constantly proves why. It's One Piece is a lot of fun. And everyone has more time in their life for pirate adventures that aren't Pirates of the Caribbean. So at least there's that. There is some violence, though. You know, it's not it's not as family friendly, I guess, as Pirates of the Caribbean, but it is pretty dope. I'm about it right now.
And if you like it, there's over 1,000 episodes of the anime to watch. So
Yeah, that's right. There's the anime too. But
Literally.
I'm liking the live action. I'm also watching The Curse. I've talked about it before. I'll talk about it briefly again. You guys have each watched an episode or two. I stand by what I said the first time I watched it, and now I think I'm 5 or 6 episodes in. It's just an anti-comedy. It's not funny. There's nothing good about it. It's just sort of the story of gentrification and these idiot assholes. And where Righteous Gemstones is sort of a funny story about idiot assholes, this one's not so funny. It's really a lack of comedy, and you have to really just enjoy Nathan Fielder and sort of just be interested in what he's up to. If you don't like Nathan, I don't know what there is in this show to like. It's just really despicable. I mean, it's the story of rich white people gentrifying a neighborhood, and it's supposed to be despicable. You know what I mean? You're supposed to hate these horrible, stupid people who just ruin everything.
they are kind of the worst, yeah.
Yeah, and they just continue to be the worst as you watch the series. And it's not like, haha, they're the worst. It's just really flat. They're just horrible people, and they have no idea. But that's a real story. The whole thing's a really real story. You know what I mean? There's a true story being told there about these people who think they're helping, who think they're going to come in and help this neighborhood and build all these houses. And they have these unrealistic expectations, and you know what they're doing is really more harmful than it is good. That's what this whole show is about. I like it. I'm gonna keep watching it. I think I like it. I don't even know. Maybe I don't like it. I'm gonna keep watching it though because I like Nathan Fielder. I don't think I'm gonna say that it's certified fresh this week. I really think that you have to like Nathan Fielder to want to watch this. So for anyone in this podcast who isn't a diehard fan, don't even try. It's not good.
It's not going to sell you on them.
Not like.
Yeah.
I don't
Do
think
you
so.
like Emma Stone in it?
I like her performance, but her character is also like the more she goes on, you realize she's a likable person, but she's low key a hateable idiot also, and she also is not. I mean, they both suck. Right. I like her performance.
By design, yeah.
I like her performance. Yeah, but I think they both knew exactly what they were getting into with this project. So yeah, they suck by design, but their performances are good. It's just, I have really mixed feelings on the show because obviously they are rich white people in real life that are profiting on making a story about gentrification and them being assholes, but they're making a ton of money in a small community. In real life, they're actually making that money. You know what I mean? So it's something about rich people making that story pisses me off. It's almost hard to watch because it's like, you know what? You guys are the effing problem. Get off the screen. Get the fuck out of here. No one needs you telling this story and making money on this and going to these small towns. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I'm mixed on it, and I'm probably supposed to be, knowing Nathan.
Yep. Well said.
Well, that takes us to our fresh games of the week.
It does take us to the games. Let me jump in here real quick. The finals came out again, and I forgot to tell you guys. I forgot to gush about it. This is the free game that you should be playing if you're a Call of Duty guy, if you're a Battlefield guy, if you are a shooter, you're a Fortnite guy. If you're looking for the new game to play, something this season for free that is fun with your friends, it's the finals. It's fast-paced, the environment is destructible, there's lots of zip lines and jump pads and all sorts of crap in a small arena. You go and grab a cash out, a bunch of teams fight over the box. It's 3 teams with 3 players. So it's not a battle royale, it's not a huge Battlefield type game, it's not a Call of Duty shooter, it's something new, it's something fresh, it's fun. It's got a male and female announcer voice over the top of it like you're watching a live sports show. There's a crowd like outside the arena beyond the shield watching you, so there's this live sporting event kind of feel. I think the finals is a blast. It's something different, it's something fresh. I can't recommend it enough. And it's free. When something's free, it's even better.
No, definitely
they know
check
what they're
it out.
doing. It's a bit of an item mall if you want to buy customizations for your character and stuff like that. You're spending real cash, but the gameplay of it is really fun and rewarding, and you do unlock stuff, albeit slowly if you don't have the season pass.
Yeah.
But the finals, big thumbs up for me, especially if you have 2 friends and you guys are itching to play something new.
Yeah, I played a bit of this myself. It's pretty fun. There's 3 different character types. You can be light, medium, or heavy. They all have different powers. But it's a pretty level playing field for everyone involved. Yeah, like you said, 3 teams of 3. It's very unique gameplay with the heist aspect. So it is definitely fresh. In the most literal sense of the term. It's something new. So, and like you said, 100% free. Not with Game Pass. Just period. It's free. It's a free game. So there's no reason not to try it.
Yeah, I'm not tuned in to the world of a lot of these free-to-play games, but I know that there are a lot of them that are quality. And then, Gary, I'd seen you and Lee and whoever playing this a few weeks ago, and I was just like, what is this? Because for me, when you see the name The Finals, it reads like a sports game. Like, that's what I think of. Like, oh, it's The Finals. And then at the Game Awards, they were showing trailers for this and announcing it launching, officially launching in full capacity. And now I've seen reviews post, and all the reviews have been really positive. So I feel like y'all were ahead of the curve with this one, and I'm glad to hear that it's so good.
The beta came out a couple months ago, and I was on it. I was like, yo, everybody download this beta. And it was supposed to be out for a week, and I think it stuck around for 3 weeks instead. And it was just fun. And then they said, we'll be back in December. And it was just like crickets, And then you're right. I think they announced we're alive now at the Game Awards or whatever. So it did launch that week. And yeah, it's been one of the go-to games. It's back and forth. There's nothing that curbs the appetite, though, for Battlefield. If you want to shoot down a helicopter or blow up a tank, there's no way to do that except in Battlefield. The finals is fun, but there are no vehicles.
The finals is a completely different vibe, yeah, for sure. But definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, for me, as far as games go, I've just been playing Baldur's Gate 3, and I'm not gonna waste much time talking about it because we've talked a lot about on the show about how it's very good, but I've only gotten more into it. I had only grazed the surface last week. I've put a few more hours into it, and I think I'm almost done with Act 1 of the game. I feel like I'm nearing the end. Just still really like it.
I keep thinking the same thing, but then I climb down another well, or I go into another cave, or I find another person that's just under somewhere. So there's always a little bit more to find in Baldur's Gate. I think that's part of the appeal to it. I told you last time I had just made a bunch of characters. I do the same thing in Dungeons & Dragons when a new edition comes out. I want to see how all the wheels turn on all the classes. So now that I did that, I jumped into the story, and I'm playing 2 different accounts. One I'm playing with my wife, and we're doing the story together, and then one I'm sort of playing by myself, but I don't really know what's going on in the story in that one as well. I'm just sort of walking around, making different decisions. So I've killed some key characters in one game and I've lost some in another game through story decisions. It's just cool stuff going on. I don't load back to my game to make different decisions.
Yeah.
I just stick myself with what I did the first time. I think it's more fun that way. I got nothing but good stuff to say about Baldur's Gate, and that's the kind of stuff we haven't said yet. We've said it's a good game, but not why, and those are the reasons why. There's always more to find. You're making different narrative choices for your characters every time. In fact, Jahan and I think I'm gonna, I don't know. I think I'm gonna make Jahan buy it on Xbox, and if it's not crossplay, I don't know. But he's about to have 2 weeks off. And I want to play so much Baldur's Gate.
Be fun.
Start a new campaign and just for 2 weeks, just push it to see how far we can get.
There is something about Baldur's Gate 3 that kind of breaks me from the way that I normally play video games, because I do play very much in line with like, oh, if I'm gonna be good as this character and I'm gonna make all the good decisions, or I'm gonna be bad and I'm gonna make all the bad decisions. And Baldur's Gate really allows for a lot more gray area and for you to play the character that you want to play. But I also feel like the fate of your character and dice is so inherent to D&D that, to your point, Gary, like if I fail a dice check or whatever, I'm like, I'm not reloading the game and trying again. Like, no, I feel like that's the fate of the game. And the way it works is most likely any time that you do fail a check or something, there's 9 times out of 10 a different way for you to do what you were trying to do anyway. You just need to figure it out. And so I've really enjoyed that about the game.
Inspiration in your pocket still, everyone gets the chance to get inspiration. You just hold on to that inspiration for your reroll and get it the fair way.
Yep, exactly. So I enjoy, there is a accomplishment when you earn inspiration by doing things and whatnot. You're like, oh, I played the way my character should be played. And
yeah, picking your background actually matters because your inspiration's tied to it. So yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, we talked about it more than I thought we would, but man, that game is really good. It's really, really good.
It's okay. We're almost at the end here. I just want to talk about Game Pass. Xbox Game Pass dropped some new games, and I thought it was kind of funny because of our discussion. Specifically, funny enough, Baldur's Gate 3. You guys were saying it was going to come to Game Pass as soon as it was on Xbox. They were going to announce it at the Game Awards, all that stuff. I said, nuh-uh. And now they dropped Pillars of Eternity free on Game Pass, which I thought was just kind of funny. Kind of like it was kind of a dry hump, man. It was just like...
It's the poor man's Baldur's
Yeah,
Gate.
dude, it was kind of a wah-wah to me, and I saw that. I just kind of wanted to rub it in your faces. I don't know. But the other thing, another game that I've actually really wanted to play, that I played the demo for, Against the Storm. It is a really unique strategy game in where you are building a little civilization and like doing battle, kind of Warcraft style. With a bunch of different fantasy races working together. Some of them like doing certain jobs better than others. There's this whole like micromanaging aspect to it. Very interesting game. Also free on Game Pass, and that was a very big surprise for me. So I'm happy for that. I already downloaded it. But
is that on PC Game Pass or Xbox?
I believe it's on
both?
PC Game Pass. I don't actually know if it's on Xbox.
Darn it.
But hey, maybe it is. They've been putting more and more games, RTSs on console. I feel like they don't work as well on console, but I guess you want to play them.
That sounds neat.
It is.
Let's
pretty
talk about our fresh picks.
Fresh picks,
gentlemen. What are your number one picks? What's your one thing you recommend to your friends, family, loved ones?
My number one pick is Jujutsu Kaisen. Check it out. It is a fun anime. If you're into anime, listen to me and watch Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm going to try and watch more anime, I've decided. I'm going to try and get back into the world of anime. And so
I got to be honest, we played Baldur's Gate, but I've actually been playing Battlefield again. I've been playing the finals. Baldur's Gate is not pulling me in the way that Starfield did, the way I just dumped hundreds of hours into. But I do want to play it with my wife. Like, I'm saving it, We play it together on weekends. We play all day. We play when we can. And it's a lot of fun for me that way, co-op. But as a social gamer, Baldur's Gate is not... it didn't draw me in like I thought it would.
Yeah.
So it's not my pick of the week. It got it 1 week when it was fresh. But now now I got to throw you guys a curveball. It's actually the South Park concert. As a fan of music, as a fan of Primus and Ween, and a lifelong fan of South Park. I mean, it started when we were in like third or fourth grade, and it's still going strong. I
feel like
love South Park.
There we go.
There he is.
Your audio could kind of cut out for a
my
second
mic
there.
popped out for a second. I love South Park. I love their specials that they're still doing. I love a lot of the old episodes. I don't know, man. Something they almost feel like family. The characters in South Park. It's just like, you know, if someone else took over and treated them the wrong way and drove their stories the wrong way, I'd be pissed about it. I guess I'm a huge nerd for South Park. Love it. Love the concert. Love these guys. That's my fresh pick of the week.
So with our fresh picks of the week, there's no rule here that says, you know, you can't pick the same thing twice, or you can't, or you whatever. And I picked Baldur's Gate 3 as my fresh pick last week, the first weekend playing it. And so there's part of me that's like, I could pick it again, but I feel like that's no fun. And so if I have to go with the other things I talked about, I have to have Wonka.
I think it.
Burn.
Wow.
Take that Baldur's Gate.
Just to
No
it's nothing against. I love Baldur's Gate, but I picked it last week. I want to change it up, and because I've been playing so much Baldur's Gate, I only have 2 movies and a show on my list, so not too much to choose from. But if I had to choose one, I'll choose Wonka as my fresh pick. I do think that it's enjoyable, and yeah, but it's like Wonka, but with an asterisk because it probably should be Baldur's Gate 3. But I'm going with Wonka.
No, if we're doing our favorite thing that we watched this week, mine's going to be the same for a while. It's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yeah, I've been watching.
See, I agree. I really think that's how you guys should be doing it. It's not just what's the new thing you watched. It really is the thing that is your favorite of the week. And you know, I think that is the truth. If you got to pick the same thing twice, you got to pick the same thing twice, man. If you got to pick Buffy, you got to pick Buffy.
I want to pick Buffy.
It's not your
every
fault
time.
that there's no better media.
I mean, Jujutsu Kaisen, that's the one I want to recommend, I guess, is why I picked it. But yeah, if you haven't watched Buffy, I don't know what's wrong with you. Go watch it.
I'm gonna choose. I'm just gonna say Wonka because he does manage to rhyme chocolate with pocklet, like his pocket, but he says pocklet when he rhymes it with chocolate, and he does that a lot.
I got chocolate in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun. Gary's mad. Hey everybody! Before Gary has a stroke, we're gonna call it here. This has been Fresh Out the Podcast. Thank you everyone for listening. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed doing it. Go ahead and hit us on social with your comments, questions, concerns. We want to hear from you, the people. And if you haven't liked and followed us on whatever platform you're watching on or listening on, please do, because we like it when you do that. I've been the board game guru, game master extraordinaire, Jahananan.
It's me. It's Gary. I'm the co-host of Fresh Out the Podcast and Fresh Out the Box. That's where we play tabletop role-playing games. It's me and Jahan every Thursday and Friday. You can find us at twitch.tv/Jahananan, or we have a YouTube. You can follow us on YouTube. Even if you don't watch us and you have a YouTube account, you could just go follow us and like us. You know what I mean? That's Fresh Out the Box TTRPG. You don't actually have to watch us to support us. That's all I'm saying. You could just give us. Don't want to. I'm not forcing you to watch it. Just like it. Anyways, I appreciate you guys being here, and we'll see you guys next week. We'll see you guys every week because we are trapped inside the podcast prison.
I am Drew Munhausen. You can find me at Drew Munhausen on different social media platforms. You can find me here weekly on Fresh Out the Podcast, the place where I like to cut off Gary in the middle of sentences with things that leave him absolutely dumbfounded. It's one thing when I cut him off during the show. It's another thing when I cut him off and just leave him just feeling angry and mad, like when I tell things like Wonka rhyming chocolate with pocklet. This has been episode 112 of Fresh Out the Podcast.
Stay fresh.